The House of Hollow Screams. I moved in with Victoria 7 months after we met in a dimly lit bar where her laugh seemed to cut through the noise like a beacon. Our connection was instant, electric, and 3 days later, we were dating. She was my everything, my soulmate, my joy. So when I graduated college, moving into her place felt like the natural next step. She was 2 years older, already settled with a job, while I worked remotely as a character designer for a video game company. Her house, a quaint 2-story on the edge of town, seemed perfect. But perfection, I learned, can hide horrors. The first night was when it began. Victoria worked the night shift at the hospital, so she was getting ready to leave as I unpacked my last box. She leaned in, her perfume sweet, and kissed my cheek. "Babe, I'm heading out. Just a heads up, the neighbors can get rowdy at night. Just ignore them, okay?" Her voice was warm, almost too sweet. "Got it," I said, brushing it off with a grin. I kissed her goodbye, and the door clicked shut, leaving me alone in her house. I set up my laptop at the kitchen table, diving into work. The quiet was comforting, the hum of the refrigerator a soft backdrop to my sketching. Then, at 2 a.m., the peace shattered. Screams erupted from next door, raw and furious, like a fight spiraling out of control. I couldn't make out words, just a chaotic tangle of voices, angry, desperate, overlapping. I tried to focus, but the noise grew worse. Banging shook the walls, followed by the sharp crash of glass. It sounded like a brawl, furniture hurled, maybe even bodies. My headphones, blasting music, did nothing to drown it out. By 3 a.m., I gave up, shut my laptop, and crawled into bed, rattled but determined not to make a fuss. Victoria had warned me after all. The next day passed in a blur. I didn't mention the neighbors to Victoria. She'd said it was normal, and I didn't want her thinking I couldn't handle it. Her house, her rules. But that night, as I sprawled on the couch watching a movie, it started again. Thumps, crashes, and screams like a war zone next door. I muttered, "Jesus," turning up the TV. Then came a new sound, banging on our back door, followed by a scream that curdled my blood. I froze, pausing the movie. The banging grew frantic, each thud shaking the door in its frame. Someone was trying to break in. My heart pounded as I grabbed a kitchen knife, my hands trembling. I crept to the back door, locked tight, thank God, and braced myself against it. Each blow vibrated through my spine, the screams outside high and guttural, almost inhuman. I clutched the knife, sweat beading on my forehead, unsure if I could use it if the door gave way. After what felt like hours, the banging stopped. The screams faded. Silence returned, heavy and oppressive. I checked every lock, closed every window, and collapsed into bed, resolved to talk to Victoria when she got home. This wasn't livable. At 6 a.m., Victoria slipped into bed, her arms wrapping around me from behind. Her lips brushed my neck, waking me. "How's it going, babe?" she asked, her voice soft. "Neighbors loud again?" I rubbed my eyes, turning to face her. "Again? You didn't ask yesterday." She giggled, brushing it off. "Well, how'd it go?" I sat up, my voice sharp. "The guy next door tried to break in, Victoria, banging on the door, screaming like a maniac for 2 minutes straight. I thought I was done for. This place isn't safe." She smiled, unfazed. "As long as the doors are locked, you're fine." I stared at her, my patience thinning. "No, I'm not. I can't live like this, scared out of my mind every night. We need to do something." Her smile faltered, her eyes dropping. "I'm sorry, babe. I'll call the wife tonight, see what's up, okay?" She hugged me tightly, and I softened, kissing her forehead. "Thanks," I said. "I know it's not your fault, but I can't keep living in fear. That evening, Victoria left for work. She texted me 15 minutes later. Talked to the neighbor, all sorted, should be quiet tonight. Relieved, I thanked her and settled onto the couch with a movie. Exhaustion cooled me under and I fell asleep. I woke at 4 a.m. to screams. Again. Furious, I shot up, ready to march next door and confront the neighbors myself. But as I moved toward the front door, something felt wrong. The screams weren't coming from outside. They were closer, inside the house, muffled but unmistakable. My stomach twisted as I followed the sound, each step heavier than the last. It wasn't the front door or the walls. It was coming from the basement. I'd never been down there. Victoria said it was just storage, off limits. My pulse raced as I stood before the basement door, the screams louder now, desperate, like cries for help. "This can't be real," I whispered, my hand on the knob. It was locked. Panic clawed at me, but I remembered my uncle teaching me to pick locks as a kid, a skill for emergencies, he'd said. This felt like one. I grabbed 2 paper clips from a drawer, my hand shaking as I worked the lock. The screams grew shrill, piercing. After a few agonizing minutes, the lock clicked. I pushed, but the door wouldn't budge. Something was jamming it. I scoured the house and found a crowbar in the garage. With a grunt, I pried the door open, the wood splintering. The screams hit me like a wave, raw and deafening, straight out of a nightmare. I covered my ears and forced myself down the creaking stairs, the air growing thick with a stench, rotting meat, copper, death. The basement was a slaughterhouse. Bodies lined the floor, dozens of them all young men my age, their skin pale and hollow, as if drained dry. Their faces were gone, but their bodies were arranged neatly, almost reverently. Above them, suspended in a glowing jar, were transparent, writhing shapes, faces screaming in agony, their mouths stretched in eternal torment. Souls trapped in suffering. I gagged, the smell overwhelming. Names were scrawled in blood before each body. Jack, Noah, Michael. Faces I vaguely recognized from photos Victoria had shown me. Her exes, she'd said, laughing them off as losers. My knees buckled as the screams drilled into my skull, my vision blurring. At the end of the row, one last name was written in blood, with no body yet. Dylan. My name. My phone buzzed. A text from Victoria. "Hey, babe, on my way home. Sorry about last night. Let's have fun tonight." My blood ran cold. The screams grew louder, the jar's glow pulsing like a heartbeat. I stumbled back, the crowbar slipping from my hand. The basement door slammed shut behind me, the lock clicking into place. The screams didn't stop. They were inside my head now, clawing at my sanity. I pounded on the door, my fists bloody, but it wouldn't give. Footsteps echoed above. The front door creaked open. Victoria was home. "Babe," her voice called, sweet as ever. "Where are you?" The stairs creaked behind me. I turned, but no one was there. The jar's glow intensified, the faces inside twisting, their screams morphing into my name. Dylan! Dylan! The air grew heavy, the walls closing in. I clutched the crowbar, my only weapon, as the footsteps grew closer. The basement door swung open. Victoria stood at the top, her smile radiant, her eyes glinting with something dark. In her hand was a syringe, its needle catching the dim light. "You found my collection," she said, her voice low, almost proud. "They all thought they could leave me.
But you, Dylan, you're special. You'll stay forever. I backed away, the crowbar raised, but the screams overwhelmed me, my vision swimming. The faces in the jar watched me, their agony mirroring my own. Victoria stepped closer, her smile unwavering. Don't be scared, babe. It's just us now. The last thing I saw was the needle plunging toward my neck.